what's going on, you guys? Like, with you guys to another one take review. Actually, today this is another keeping up with the classics, and I don't know if this is really considered a classic, but I do feel like a lot of people bragged about this film, so I had to check it out. It's Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction, starring, of course, Will Ferrell, Emma Thompson, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Dustin Hoffman, and Queen Latifah. Quick synopsis of this. One for one came out in 2006, so I'm 15 years too late on this and out because this is one of those ones where everybody talks about like, oh, it's Will Ferrell's greatest performance, and it's like, oh, he did this and something. I can't remember the other movie he released this year, but it was like when he burst onto the scene and like showed that he was not just a comedy actor. But nonetheless, it was a mentally unstable IRS auditor, Will Ferrell. Here's an author's voice, and played by Emma Thompson, in his head, and discovered that he is an ill-fated protagonist of her latest work. While a book company employee, Queen Latifah, tries to cure the author's case of writer's block, the auditor and a professor, Dustin Hoffman, set out to find this woman and make her change her story. This kind of reminds me, well, considering the fact that I'm seeing this late, this film reminded me of I think it's called Ruby Sparks. Ruby Sparks, and in that film, uh, a guy pretty much creates a character out of thin air, and like he everything he writes about her, she does, and that's kind of sort of how this one is, except it's different because it's playing out as like this person's the author, and like they're just basically narrating what's going on. And like Will Ferrell hears it in his head, and it's like it's just one morning it starts to happen, and it's very weird because like out of Emma Thompson's works, she ends up killing off her protagonist at the end. So Will Ferrell, and Dustin Hoffman, they end up discovering like, okay, who's the person doing this? Why I keep hearing this in my head? What's going on? And just like, oh, and they actually find out who it is. Like, oh well, this is bad because she kills off all of her characters. Will Ferrell, who lived a very, very normal life, who did the same routine for as long as he can remember, ends up having to change everything because he does not know when his life is going to end. So I was very entertained by it, and I thought it was really good because Will Ferrell is still funny, except he gave this like kind of frantic and nervous look to himself and what was going on, because one, he's his auditor, and then he has this thing with Maggie Gyllenhaal because he's auditing her over some unpaid taxes, of course, you know what I'm saying, and there's a romantic thing there that works, like just straight up and down, it works. Those two have fantastic chemistry with each other throughout this film, and it's a person who's discovering life right before it's scheduled to end, but yet at the exact same time, it's trying to fight that realization and that outcome, because nobody, like, you can tell somebody, hey, you're going to die. Like, hey, we are going to die. Well, considering that you're in someone else's story, it's crazy. Now, it's one of those, it's a science fiction thing because, this doesn't actually happen, of course. Yet, Emma Thompson's character is pretty much on the fritz as well, because you have to think she's come to this like this thought process, and I don't want to give too much away. Well, then again, the film did come out 15 years ago, so yeah, you pretty much gotta be prepared for this. Her character is like a tough predicament because one, the ending is fire. They know how this gonna end, and everything is fire. Yeah, she gets to thinking like, how many people have I actually killed? Is he just the first person to actually to discover what was going on? What about the other? I think it was eight books that she wrote before this one, and like, were those actual people? Did she kill them? And so the whole time, the film is telling you like he's going to die, and when you get to the end, and his character, once again, spoilers, and his character lives, which doesn't make the ending as good. And you think, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, I mean, I was waiting for him to die the whole time, and then one slight bit of dialogue changed my entire thought process on the film. The story she was writing was about someone who didn't know they were going to die and made decisions just based off just everyday, you know what I'm saying, just life, you know. A person knowing they're going to die and doing the things while still following in that process, that person should deserve to live. You don't want to kill off a character like that because it doesn't hit the same. If I'm walking around like, oh, I can avoid, if I can avoid my death, but I choose not to, that's one thing. But if I'm just living and I'm doing things, well, either way, he ends up saving a little boy, pushing him out the way. You know what I'm saying? So you won't get hit by a bus and save his life. He was going to do that regardless, but he was going to do that just because he wanted to, like, say, just a kid. Now, if you're doing it just because you know that's what the story is, it doesn't hit the same. So I'm just like, wow, that is a hell of a way to end it with that slight little dialogue of Emma Thompson explaining that. So I'm like, yeah, it's definitely different. I enjoyed the film quite a bit. I thought it was really good. And at first, I didn't know how, cause like I was planning for this guy to die, but then him ends up the way he ends up not dying, and then them explaining the reason. I was just like, that is actually better, and that does make more sense to me. Definitely check it out. And like I said, check out Ruby Sparks because I feel like Ruby Sparks is good. Zoe Kazan, I cannot think of her name, and Paul Dano. He's the person who creates Ruby Sparks, and that is really, really good. You definitely have to check that one out. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Catch up with you guys later. Peace out, man.